Hey guys, it's Akari here. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact high ticket funnel that I use to generate 641K in just 6 months. So the crazy part about this is that it's pretty simple. It's not complicated at all. It's actually very strategic. Let me show you how it works step by step. So the first thing I want to get into is the reality for most entrepreneurs, which is they're stuck in what I call the low ticket trap. Now, they're selling digital courses or coaching programs or memberships, things under $1,000 usually. And the problem is pretty obvious with this. It's you have to manage hundreds or thousands of customers to hit even a real revenue number. So you get burned out pretty fast. You're dealing with refund requests most of the time, and your profit margins could be pretty thin. So you're literally trading your time for money, which isn't a real business. And high ticket changed everything for me. Instead of managing chaos, you actually get to work with a small number of serious clients, and your profit margins are huge. And you actually have time to live, like you can build a real business with leverage. Now, if you want to generate significant revenue without burning yourself out, high ticket is the answer. So let's talk about how you can actually build a funnel. Now, before I break down the funnel, let me show you why high ticket works. Because when you sell high ticket, you have fewer clients, one, but two, your profit margins are huge and you get more respect from your clients because they're actually serious about your program. And you get to create a real business with impact, right? When someone pays you like 5K, they are in a way committing themselves to the program and they want to get the most out of their money that they've paid for, right? So to get the most value, they will do the steps required and actually, take on the person's advice to get the results. Now that's one reason. The other thing is the funnel is much easier to manage, and the reason is you're not juggling thousands of clients. You get to build a scalable system that doesn't require you to be like everywhere at once. So this is the real foundation of what I'm about to show you, which is the high ticket funnel. So the first step is traffic. Now, your entire funnel starts here, right? If you don't have traffic, you don't have leads. And if you don't have leads, you don't have clients. Pretty obvious, right? So here's the thing. You don't actually have to build your own audience to make this work. And one of the best decisions I made was partnering with an influencer. And this person already had a massive engaged Instagram following. Instead of me spending months or years building an audience, I partnered with them. And here's how it worked. They had the audience, they built trust with that audience, and it was over a decade that they built it up too. Now, I created the funnel, I created the offer, we became 50-50 business partners, and every lead came through their Instagram account, went to my VSL landing page that I created, and we split the revenue from every client who we closed. And this was a game changer because it eliminated the biggest bottleneck for me, which was traffic at the time. So I didn't have to worry about creating content, posting consistently, or building a following. And their audience was already warmed up, engaged. Now, Instagram was the only channel that we had, but the thing is, it could have come from anywhere, right? Like for you, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's Twitter, maybe it's LinkedIn, school, whatever. So there are multiple ways you can get traffic. Organic is one, and paid I usually suggest doing later once you can like have proof of concept. But yeah, this doesn't mean you have to go the influencer route. You can build your own audience. Like I said, like there's just multiple ways to go about it. But if you do want to accelerate and you have access to someone with an audience, a partnership like this can, cut your time to revenue in half or even more. But let's first talk about where this traffic actually goes, which is the landing page. So VSL landing page is where the magic happens. VSL actually stands for Video Sales Letter. This is the hub that converts the traffic into leads. So here's how my landing page was structured. And this is pretty important. The first thing is there's an opt-in. Now, this is where you capture the leads details. It's the first name and email. That's it. You want to keep the barrier to entry very low. The lower the friction, the more people that will actually opt in, which you can then go ahead and retarget later on in case they don't follow the next steps. So you'll have the opt-in, they'll put their name and email, they'll usually click a button, and then they'll see another page, which will be the video. And this one is a short, 5 to 15 video where you explain your offer. And there's a specific structure you follow for this because not all VSLs are created the same. Very briefly, it would be something like you talk about your story, who you are, why you should listen to me. Like you talk about like the clients that you've helped in the past, and you share enough to establish what you're doing so that that person can understand how you can actually help them, right? So as you can see here, story credibility, you want to agitate the problem. And the next part is very crucial. You want to talk about your program, obviously, because that's what you will offer them. So what's included, what they're going to get, paint a picture of what's possible if you work with them, right? You want to talk about the transformation that they're going to experience. And finally, you definitely want social proof. So real testimonials, results from real clients, because this will build trust with the prospect and make it, believable that it's possible for them to achieve the same. And the final thing you'll have is a CTA. So you want to say apply now, usually, and that will just make sure, okay, the prospect's actually going to take action after watching the video. Now, here's the thing about VSLs. They convert really well, and I have seen conversion rates anywhere from 10 to 25%, depending on the offer and traffic quality, of course, as well. That leads for basically, you create it once, and then it's scalable. It works forever, and of course, you'll make some adjustments, or you want to update the video over time. But really, it's like, think about it like a 24/7 store that's kind of just there, and you don't have to, you can be asleep. Someone could be watching your video, applying, and going through your funnel, and it just works on autopilot. So the ROI on creating a VSL is super high because you do it once and you get that reward in a way. Now, stage 3 is the application form. So this is where you qualify the prospect, right? So after they watch the VSL, they'll fill out something like a type form, which is what we used. Now, this form will ask them specific questions and things that will qualify them to make sure they're a right fit for your program. Okay, so are they a good fit? Do they have the budget? Are they serious? The questions that you really want, like I'd say the necessary ones, are of course the lead info, so name, email, number. You might need to be able to contact them after so that you can follow up. The next is their current situation. Okay, so find out where they are right now. What's the biggest challenge they have, and what do they want to achieve? What's holding them back? The fourth thing is financial eligibility, and this is to make sure they actually have a budget for your program, right? Like, you want to kind of be a little explicit about the price here. Usually you don't want to say the amount, but just make it kind of clear that there's an investment involved here. You want to know their commitment level, at least. Like, are they serious, and will they actually implement what you're going to teach? So yeah, basically all those questions are designed so that you can get an idea of, is this person qualified? Are they not? Not everyone who watches your VSL is a good fit. So, some people are curious. They just want to check out what you have, but they're actually not going to be serious about it. Your job is to identify, essentially, before they hop on a call with you, can this person actually afford your program and mentorship, because this will save you a lot of time. And you don't want to get on calls with the wrong people. Otherwise, you're wasting time, and you're wasting their time too. So once they submit the application, you'll then send a reminder email. So you want to put testimonials in here to build more trust, and you want to make sure that they actually join the call. So the reminder emails serve a few purposes, right? So they help warm them up before the call, and also remind them, because people are busy and they do forget things like calls. So, when they receive your emails here, it's going to make it more likely they're going to show up. Okay, so the two key metrics that you want to track, right, are the VSL conversion rate. So how many people actually land on the page and opt in, and then from there, how many people actually complete the Typeform? Because Typeform actually has a really professional dashboard where you can see what question it was the drop off. Like it might be, most of the time it's usually the very first question because people click on the form, open up, and then they'll just drop off. So that's like, it could be like 10-20% just from the first question. But then after that, you want to say, okay, like, is there one question where people are just dropping off massively? Because then you could change it, remove it. Those were the two main things. So if either of those two numbers are low, like the opt-in and the Typeform completion rate, then you can solve that problem. And, as I said, alter the drop-off or maybe change the VSL. Now, the fourth step is the sales call. So this is where the actual sale happens, okay? So this is usually a 45-minute call, and there's a specific structure. Of course, you want to read the application in advance so you can know their situation before you jump on. And then you want to dive deep into their goals. So kind of ask them like what their current situation is, what are they struggling with, why haven't they done this on their own? That's very important. It's like they've hopped on the call with you for a reason, okay? So they want to solve this problem, but they haven't done it on their own yet, and they're coming to you. So you want to ask them, okay, like, why is now the time? Have them sell themselves to you. And then you want to dive deeper and understand their business. Just build that rapport and trust with them. And once you've identified that there is a problem and you can be the solution for them, that's when you'll present the program or your mentorship, okay? So you want to talk about what's included, of course, what's the timeline that they're likely to get results, and what they can expect. Paint a clear picture of how it will look like working with you and what they're going to get out of it. That's very important. Most of the time, you will receive an objection. I'm not going to tell you the real reason up front. So you do want to address these and kind of dig deep into like what the actual objection is. But yeah, if it makes sense, you close the sale. If you handle objections properly, then they're ready and you send them the payment link, which will be usually to Stripe. And then that's that simple. They'll process the payment. But if they're not ready to buy, then of course you'll need to follow up after the call and just keep checking with them and whatnot. But not everyone closes on the first call, but you should aim for it. Now, the metrics you want to track here are the application to call percentage, like how many people fill out the application, how many people hop on the call, and then, of course, close as well. So if your close rate is below 20%, something is wrong. It's probably the way you're selling or your offer is not strong enough, something like that. You need to analyze and see what it could be. But yeah, if you're doing everything right so far up until stage 4, you presented your mentorship properly, then you should be seeing at least a 20% close rate, if not 30%. Okay? So if we move on to the 5th stage, this is onboarding and delivery. So you've already made the sale at this point, okay? Now you've got to deliver. So here's my process. When they pay via Stripe, an automated email goes out immediately, and this email will welcome them into the program and sets the expectation, okay? So it tells them what's next, invites them into your community. So if your mentorship is hosted on like School, which is what I used, that's where they can book in the calls with you. They have access to program materials, the community. This is where you can invite them in the email, and you can set this up for an automation like make.com or through Zapier. It's a pretty simple automation. And then when they request access to your school community, you can manually approve it and double check it against the payment, of course, make sure everything's legit. Then you deliver. So you show up, you deliver the value that you promised, and help them get the real results. That's a non-negotiable. So here's where it gets interesting. Once they complete the program or get their first win, you want to ask them for a testimonial. These testimonials can go into your VSL, right? Once they've achieved the results that you promised them, then you can add this video into your actual VSL, and you can use it as an ad as well. It's a marketing asset in a way. And the more results you can get and add to your VSL, the more trust you'll build with future prospects. It's super powerful. All right. So finally, lead generation through referrals. This is another powerful one because there's no extra, in a way, like you already have the client and you already made them happy. You just ask them, do you know anyone else who could benefit from this? It's one question, and most of them will know someone else, and then they'll refer them to you. So word of mouth is the highest quality traffic because you get a warm, pre-sold lead who, someone personally has gotten results from your program and they're telling them that you should join. That's the highest traffic there is. So one more thing, you want to automate and systemize as much as you can, but keep the human touch where it matters. Like you could automate the things like the onboarding email, these sorts of things. But when you're talking to a prospect, of course, you want to do that and not use like AI. So let's talk about the bonus tips real quick. You do want to track where your traffic is coming from, okay? And double down what's working. Now, for us, because we only had Instagram, there wasn't really much to track other than to see what messaging was working better and split test that. But if you have multiple traffic sources like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, then you want to see like which one is bringing you, like, of course, the most leads, but then the people who are joining your program as well, like, are they coming from one platform? If 80% are coming from like Instagram, then you just double down on that and stop doing Facebook or something. So that's pretty important. And then the next thing is you want to sell before you build your program. I know so many people who will go ahead and like build this and the product could be amazing, genuinely like amazing course. However, they've done this before even knowing or thinking about how to sell. So that's why I always recommend to sell before you build. Make sure that people want what you have before you go ahead and invest time into building it, right? And you definitely want to stay lean. That's my third tip. You only want to hire when it hurts. This is like things like a closer is usually one of your first hires, because when you're getting a lot of traffic come through, you're going to have a lot of sales calls, and you being one person can only take, if you've got 8 slots per day, you can only take 8 calls per day. You will need a closer or another salesperson that can take calls on your behalf to be able to scale your business. So I was able to keep my profit margin to 85%, and that was due to basically like only when I really needed to. Okay, so that's my third tip. Now let's move on to the numbers here. Because this is why high ticket works, okay? The math is very simple. If you want to generate $1 million, there are multiple paths. You could first have 334 clients paying you $3,000 each. Now, this is one way of doing it, and probably more popular way. The next is having 200 clients paying you $5,000 each. And the third is 125 clients paying you $8,000 each. So the math is simple, execution is key. Most people can definitely handle 10 to 15 clients. But yeah, the formula always led to significant revenue because you have a manageable workload. And when you understand the math, you can always work backwards. Like, you know exactly how many sales you need, and you know exactly how many calls you need, and you know exactly how many applications you need. And when you know the numbers, everything makes sense and your business is predictable. So yeah, that's very important. And just back on to this one here, key metrics. If you want to be predictable and scalable, you definitely need to track metrics at every stage. And this is where most people fail. They just don't know their numbers. But here's what I track, okay? I track the VSL conversion percentage. How many people land on my page and opt in? Number one. Secondly, Typeform completion rate. How many people start my Typeform and how many people finish it? Application to call percentage. And then show up rate. How many people showing up to your calls? How many people are closing? How many, do the people show up? Number one. what percentage of calls are converting into sales. And yeah, like these are the main metrics. Of course, you can have things like client lifetime value, how much the client's worth over lifetime, or the average revenue per customer to tell you if your pricing's right. So there's those as well, but I would say these are the main things and the main metrics to track. If there's a percentage here that's not optimal or high enough, then simply you're going to have a bottleneck. Like maybe you are getting a high completion rate and then just no one's showing up to the call. Then you know, okay, that's the bottleneck I need to solve. The numbers create clarity for you. So when you know these numbers, you can predict the revenue. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. So here's the thing. This funnel might sound like a lot, but it's pretty straightforward. And when you break it down, you just essentially drive traffic, okay? You capture the leads with a VSL, you qualify them with an application, and then you close them on a sales call. So you deliver the incredible results after that, and then ask for a referral, and then essentially repeat. That's it. So it's not so complicated. And if you do this properly, you will generate significant revenue. I've seen this work for coaches, agencies. It worked in my previous business with my ex-business partner. And, you know, these are the details which will depend on your business, but the framework will stay the same. And if you do want to go deeper into any of these stages, like one specific template, scripts, or processes that I'm running and have used in my business, I'm actually doing a one-on-one mentorship program. So I walk you through exactly the high ticket funnel and personalize it to your specific business or situation. So we identify your ideal client, we'll craft your positioning, build your funnel from scratch, can help you with all of that stuff. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link in the description below. If not, no worries at all. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.